Welcome to the AbsoluteCast. I'm your host TJ, and we have with us
Udit
and Nakul.
And today we're going to be talking about photo apps.
Yes.
So obviously the AbsoluteCast is our tech podcast from the Absolute Geeks, and what we do is we review, or the current format of our podcast is to look at different apps that we use. Not necessarily regularly, but something that we just want to showcase. And we have a topic for every episode. And in that episode, we will discuss that particular category of apps.
Yes.
So the first episode, we did the podcast apps. So how you can consume podcast content. So you can always go check that out in one of the previous episodes.
Yeah.
And this episode is photo apps, like I already said. And
Yes.
Yes.
And I'm really excited about this topic.
Yeah.
And so am I. Totally.
I think we're all we use photo apps quite often, right?
Yes.
Photo editing apps.
Well, I don't really.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't really do that much. Maybe I should. I don't know why I don't do it. I think I tend to use Instagram just by default because my requirement for photos is not that much.
Yeah.
Don't boo me, man. I mean, that's just my personal requirement, right? I'm not. So if I'm using it for the food blog, it's usually done through Lightroom on the desktop.
Okay.
So it's done on a computer, and then we move it onto the phone, and then we post it up or whatever it may be. Okay. So that's how we do it over there. But if it's just directly from my phone, I take a picture, I edit on Instagram. It's got enough settings for me to fiddle around, do what I need to do. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start off this time.
Yep.
Last time it was Udit who got us rolling, but I'm gonna start us off this time. And obviously we have a video for episode 2,
Yes. Hey.
not for episode 1.
Yes.
Wave to the camera with it.
Hey, can you see me?
So if you want to obviously watch the video of this podcast, you can check us out on YouTube as well. There'll be links in the show notes for everything. So let me start by putting my phone onto the TV. And so the first app that I'm going to be doing is the Photos app. So I don't know how well this is going to work on the screen there, but basically it's a very limited app. Obviously, this is like the native basic vanilla Photos app that you get in the iPhone as is. So obviously this is iPhone only. It's not there for Android. But what it gives you is what I like to use it for. I don't tend to use it for editing, but you do have these presets, filters, if you want to call it that. Yeah. But you can't really fiddle with the intensity at all, which is kind of a bummer. Yeah. So I wish you could, but you can't. You can't do anything like that. It's kind of sad. On the other hand, you do have all the features that you might want. So you've got the light, the different types of exposure that you want to do, contrast that you might want to do. Same thing for colors. You can do contrast. You can do saturation. And I don't really know what this is because I don't really use it. But I guess...
Okay, it's for your mid-tones and high tones.
Mid-tones and high tones.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got all this basic control, which is good. I have used some other apps, and obviously the controls on that and the interface is a lot better. This is a bit dated, I want to say now. Okay. But let me go back and edit that. So what was the other things that I wanted to show you? So okay. You do have like cropping, rotating, all of that. Which is this, I think, is one of the most easiest ones to use for this. Nothing really, for me, has come close to this. And you do have presets on aspect ratios as well, which is pretty cool. But one of the things that I use it a lot for, and this is for whenever I need to do testing and things like that. So I use the markup on this quite a lot. So if I ever want to highlight something, point to something, I can also add text and then move that around. Write whatever I want to. It's for me, the markup part of this, it's pretty good. And you can really go to town with it. There are obviously not markup apps, but like feature apps where you can add graphics and effects and things like that. So I do have some of those as well.
Oh my God, those are a lot.
Wow. Those are, sorry, ignore that. So like, for example, over, halftone, not over, but halftone. What else do we have here? Matter, things like that. Like those are for some fun gimmicky things that you might want to do with your image. And this is what I use the Photos app for. I know I'm not like a power user of this. It's something that I just tend to use for casual editing if I need something on the fly and I don't want to use Instagram or whatever it may be, or even one of the more powerful apps. I do use them every now and then. I do have them.
Right.
And obviously, Udit and Knuckle will talk about those in a bit more.
I have something to add about Photos app. I've used this app a lot earlier. The only feature I miss in Photos app is I think you cannot control the sharpness, or you can.
Let's have a look, actually.
Yeah.
I don't think you can.
I saw an option called Brilliance.
Brilliance is like vibrance.
Oh, okay, the
my-
vibrance.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
You can't actually control sharpness. You're right.
Yes. So for sharpness and also to reduce noise.
No, you
So
can't. Absolutely not. Yeah.
Yes. So I think those are the two main reasons I didn't use Photos particularly. But it's a decent app for starters.
Right. I mean, I guess the whole point of this app is not for it to be an editing app. It just gives you the features if you want it to be. I'm not sure, but like if you take a live photo or something like that, you can edit it. You can choose the frame that you want.
Yes.
You know, if you do
okay.
if you
burst
take a
photo and it'll
burst
select
photo,
the best one.
You can choose which one you want. You can go through it like that. So it's not the most powerful. Let's put it that way.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about that app.
Okay. that was quick.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll go second.
All right.
So do you have anything other than that?
No,
To
that's
add
all I had.
before-
Yeah. So it's obviously, like I said, it's
But
not.
I saw that few of the apps that I'm using, like VSCO, they were already installed on your phone.
Yeah.
So have you tried them?
I have tried them, but again, I don't edit on my phone,
Okay.
right? So
Okay.
the point is, if I were to edit, I'd most probably not need something that's to be used for a feed that's very important to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's more for a feed that's more casual, which doesn't, or the lighting was so good that I really didn't need to do much editing.
Okay.
You know, so something like that. And then I tend to use Instagram just by default. So actually, let's, before we jump into what you're sharing, let's go look at Instagram.
Yes.
So I'm afraid what profile's on here. So let's say, for example, we've got this. It's been a while since I've done this. So yeah, you get all these features that you get with Instagram natively.
Right.
And one of them is adjust, which is not the most intuitive thing, but it's simple. And it does have sharpness, which I'm sure you know.
Yes.
Yes.
You know, you can do it as you like. The basics are here. And if this is, I tend to use a few of these. I don't use all of them. I don't touch, for example, fade. I don't use that myself. I would only use it if I'm using a filter first, and then
To reduce the intensity, maybe, or
like this filter has fade, for example. Like I won't use this. If I do, then I will reduce the intensity, which is something I like, which I don't think the Photos app does at all, unless.
Yeah, this one doesn't.
Intensity? No, you cannot.
It doesn't. Like you have to just go with whatever they give you.
Yeah.
We just kind of
But their filters are really nice. The one that the second one, which is that the vivid.
Yeah.
Yeah, people use this a lot. And the second last one, that silver tone.
The black and white.
Yeah,
is it?
silver tone. Yeah, this is also really nice.
So what's interesting about this is that I'm gonna put you guys over here, but you can actually do this on the fly.
Yes.
Oh, the filters.
Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times I've seen people do this where they just take the picture or do it on the fly.
It looks pretty good. The lighting, light here is better than I expect.
So
yeah, I think this is more of a like informative session for Udit.
Yeah. So how do you like to use this app on your phone? Oh wait, you can't.
I don't want to.
Right. Sure, that's what they all say.
Well, it can't do half the things like rightly said.
Right, but then, okay, anyways, so we'll get into that, I guess, over the course of the podcast.
And then again, you do basic editing, so I think that's fine for basic. But then if you want to do some advanced, then I don't think that is the app people
No,
will
absolutely
use.
not. Absolutely not.
But with Photos app, how's the camera app? So if we are considering photo editing app, I think we can cover the camera app as well of choice.
We could, but I think let's get into it in another episode.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah,
That'll be a shot.
that'll be better.
Yeah. It's like twitching. Like I'm
I
not
could.
prepared for this.
I could, but then it would be a whole different episode.
It would be a lot.
Or we
longer,
could
so.
just cover the filters or presets if you're using the camera, just the presets, nothing else in the camera.
Yeah. Okay. So
If you
okay.
want to.
So like I showed you guys, I do have a few camera apps also on here, but let's just talk about the stock.
Okay.
Let's just talk about the stock camera app, which is what I use primarily. I don't really use anything else. The most basic is you have the filters on pretty much any mode, be it video.
You're making Udit conscious. Like, move the camera a little.
Okay, here, how about that? Let's focus on Angami a little bit. So yeah, so on the photo you get the different effects. Portrait, you have a few lighting effects that it gives you.
Yeah.
Square format, I was a big fan of this for the longest time.
Because Instagram only supported.
Yeah, it was just easy to frame. You'd be good to go. And Pano, I think iPhone's panorama mode is still the easiest panorama mode out there. I haven't found something that's even remotely close to this. And till now, I've tried panorama on my on the Sony A6000.
Okay.
I've tried it like maybe 15 or 20 different times. I have not once successfully been able to take a photo with it.
I almost get the kind of panorama I want, like each and every time.
With your camera?
Yes, with the phone camera.
Not with the phone. I'm talking about like with the professional.
No. I'm talking about the phone.
With the professional, with Sony, even I have a Sony. I think
you have to be
in the end it says like try again.
So you have to be on a tripod pretty much to make it work because it just can't stitch it together. Whereas in this, you just you sort of, and then it starts telling you slow down, whatever, and I'm done.
Yes.
I don't want to take the full panel.
Yes.
I can choose how much I want, which is pretty cool. So fine, okay, you see how choppy that is, but that's because I did a really shit job of doing it. But it tends to do it pretty well, so I like that.
Yes. Even I use panorama basically for just to get wide angle shots.
Right.
iPhone doesn't have a wide angle camera.
Yeah, which is it's easy enough to use. And then you've got the slow-mo, and then you've got the time lapse. But one thing that I absolutely despise with this phone is the settings. Because I have to go here.
Yes, all the way.
All the way here, and I have to figure out where it is, and then I can change, my slow-mo settings, recording settings, what do I want to do.
Okay.
All of this stuff is hidden here, which is very frustrating. So something else that would be better to use is, where are my photos? Something like, not this, ProCam.
Yes, even have.
Yeah, so this is like a beast. This had 4K recording before 4K recording was a thing on the iPhone.
Wow.
Yeah, so it would take 4K resolution photos at a very frequent rate, which is what a video is in the end, right? That's what it is, and stitch them all together. So it's a beast, and of course you can change a lot of the settings here. I don't remember it off the top of my head right now how to change anything. Yeah, well, there you go. So you can change all the settings, and you can put various grids, which is really cool. So I really like this. So you can the rule of thirds.
Yeah,
it's just phenomenal. So this is a pretty cool app for photos. I think this is probably one of my favorite ones. It does require a lot more battery, and it's a bit more resource intensive, which is a bit sad, but it's pretty cool. So it's got a bunch of features as well, and I think it's pretty cool. And it added portrait as well, which I never actually tried. I don't even know it had it. It's giving me tactile feedback, which is pretty cool.
Oh, okay.
So that's actually because of the setting that I use. So you can see it's a little slow. The whole process is a little slow. So that's
a little
bit
shaky.
of a it's a bit of a upset for me, but
Very, very few apps, third-party camera apps on iPhone work work as they say.
Right. Okay. So let's move on to the next app, which is what you have.
Yes. So I thought I'll show you my photo editing process. So how I do it. First, let me screen my phone.
So is Udit also going to screen his phone onto the TV?
He can try.
Samsung to Apple TV.
So as you can see, I have a folder here, photo editing. So first, what I'll do is I'll open the Heliday app.
Okay.
So people call it Heliday, Helide, Helidi, but I think it's Heliday. So it takes raw photos.
Oh, nice.
So let me take one of you. Okay. So this is a raw photo. What you're seeing is JPEG. So on the top, I can change. I can see how it will look as raw.
So is it capturing RAW and
JPEG both?
It's capturing both.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you want, you can just swipe up from here and change
Disable.
RAW or
Nice.
JPEG, and then the focus is here, manual focus. So may I have that cup?
The focus cup.
The focus cup.
So you can change the focus.
Right.
Right.
So this is the macro one, and this is wide angle. I think this is with every
Every
third-party
pro,
app, yeah.
every pro camera app.
Yes. And then the best feature here is it's very simple. It's snappy. I can just move my finger on the screen and it'll change the white balance. No, exposure.
Exposure.
Yeah. And if,
In fact, sorry to cut you off. Even the normal iPhone
Yes.
camera app
yes.
has that, which very few people I've seen use, which is very weird because it's very powerful.
Yeah.
So it's really cool that you can it's just swipe, right? You don't have to tap or anything like you do with the. Yeah, it's pretty
Yes.
cool.
So let's
Is that your histogram on the top?
yes. So they've recently added this feature,
Oh, sweet.
and
Oh,
it's
wow.
color Instagram. So that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
And I think that's it about this.
So is
this app.
this a paid app?
Yes. I think it's 11 dirhams on
11 dirhams.
on Apple Store. It's not available for Android users.
Okay. We have better ones.
Okay. So next step, what I do is I'll open the Lightroom mobile app. I'll go to photos, add this photo there.
So is the reason why you use that app is for capturing RAW?
For capturing raw photos.
The native camera app can't capture RAW, right?
No.
Unlike my phone.
It does record a high resolution image. It does have a different format for it.
For photos?
Yeah.
No. For iPhone?
Yeah, for iPhone. I think it's
Okay,
not
that's-
no, sorry. It's a specialized iPhone photo format which is to
Okay, this one.
this one,
High efficiency.
high efficiency. So that actually it's the opposite. So it converts it to a version which is supposed to be even smaller, I think,
Smaller in size.
without losing any of the
Yes.
like JPEG, but better than JPEG, smaller in
Yeah.
size. Than
Okay,
RAW.
but then that's not readable by all the editing software.
It isn't. It's
Yeah.
it's a bit of an
It's
issue
not a-
there.
It
Yeah.
is, but when you
Standard.
export, it exports in JPEG from wherever
No.
you save it.
No.
No?
So if you airdrop it to your laptop, it airdrops it as H whatever it is. H.
Yeah, but because that's
HE.
you're in under Apple ecosystem.
Apple, maybe,
but
yeah. So if I want to share it, it shares on WhatsApp and all that
So
stuff.
from Mac, I think when you export it, there are two options: export it as original or JPEG.
Maybe
Yeah. Okay, we'll get into that later.
that's a whole different
Yes.
topic.
So this is the photo which I took, and I've opened Lightroom. So first thing I'll do here is, okay, let me keep in this orientation. So first thing, because it's a RAW, I get different options. I can change the monochrome, landscape, portrait. These options are only available for RAW photos.
Okay.
So what I usually keep it standard because it doesn't saturate anything much.
This is the paid version, right?
Yes. So I have Adobe subscription for Lightroom photography plan.
Oh,
In that you get Photoshop, Lightroom.
How much is that?
Monthly, I think it's $10 to $15.
$10 to $15 a month. Yeah.
Yes.
So wait. So Lightroom I know is free to use, but if you want to edit RAW and you want to use
Yes.
RAW filters and stuff like that, that's when you need the paid license.
Correct. Correct. So you can do all this, but for to edit raw photos, you need a premium subscription. So once I've selected the profile, I'll just press auto, so it recognizes what's the photo like. Next would be the crop it.
Okay.
So I don't know if you can see, just like
A little
changed
bit
a
of,
little.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a little zoomed in, and because it will take the squares on the top. I think you must be knowing it on the desktop app. So you can just put, if I click off and then I just put lines.
You can align it based on that. Yeah.
Yes. So I'll just have to, and then on the bottom as well.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
So it'll align.
So that it cut his head off? No, okay.
Yeah. But I'll do auto for this.
Well, that's it works really well if you have a reference point. Like in this, we do.
Yes. So mostly if you click on auto, it works. But if it doesn't, then I'll change it manually
Right.
with this.
Right.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so then the next step would be then to change the exposure and everything. So I'll keep it a little exposed, contrast low, highlight less, shadow. And the best feature when you come in whites and blacks, so you have to just follow the simple thumb rule. Press the slider and the other finger on the photo, and then you'll see this. And as soon as everything gets dark, just leave it. That's the perfect white balance to set.
Oh, okay, nice.
And the same goes for the blacks.
Blacks.
If I press this, when everything goes white,
you leave it.
yeah,
Oh,
that's the
okay.
best.
So can you preview the previous
Yeah.
image? Oh yeah, look at that.
So, but
Nice.
So next would be colors. I don't change the temperature much because that I'll do in my next app. So I'll just increase the vibrance. I keep it at 30, and then the saturation at around 10.
So you have a set.
Yeah, this
Saturation
is
and-
set. This is what I follow for mostly all the pictures, but it works for almost all the pictures.
Okay.
And then in the effect, I keep it at around 20. Dehaze, I keep it around 15. I don't change the
Vignette.
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 I don't change vignette, and I'll
Do you
increase the
pronounce that word?
I'll increase the sharpness, radius, detail, masking, and noise. I keep it. This is a feature why I use Lightroom and not any other app.
Do any of the other apps really have noise? I've not seen it.
No, SnapSeed I think doesn't have a noise
No,
reduction,
it
and even VSCO, which is my next app, that also doesn't have
it.
noise reduction.
There is a feature which smoothens out the image a bit if you reduce the structure in SnapSeed.
Yeah, but that's not
Okay.
noise reduction.
Yeah, it's not noise reduction. Yes, that's not there.
Yeah.
So,
That's
It gives
smoothness,
it gives like a dreamy filter if you reduce structure.
yes. a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah.
But then again, you can do it selectively, not for the full picture, but
Oh,
just
right.
for areas.
The
that
area
you,
of focus.
Okay, so what I did is I reduced the noise by 50, and this feature I really like, enable lens correction. So you'll
Okay.
see the difference. If I turn enable lens correction off,
Yeah.
there's a like subtle difference.
Mm-hmm.
So that has to do with the iPhone camera app. So you can, whichever phone or camera you're using, it recognizes which device it is, and it'll change accordingly.
Okay.
And this remove chromatic aberration is sometimes you get those purple lines in your photos. It'll remove those. So I'm done with the Lightroom. So I'll just open this app in full resolution on VSCO. So I'll import this to VSCO. I'll open VSCO. Yeah, it's already here. So then best thing in VSCO is it recognizes the photo, and for this photo, which filters will work best.
All right.
Okay.
So I really like A series filters, A and AL.
Okay.
So I don't know, maybe like it depends on I think personal choice. So I really like I'll tell you about my favorite ones. There's G8, but it doesn't work on this photo. But if it's nice outdoor,
It's very warm.
Yeah, it's very warm, but it works. It makes blues more blue and teal color.
Okay.
So maybe A6. I like A6. So
Mhm.
if you can see the difference.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's a little bit more, little bit exposed. So I just
Overexposed here,
reduce the exposure, and then maybe increase the contrast. Okay, I cannot see my photo properly. Sharpness, I'll keep it at 2. Then clarity again at 2. Maybe I'll reduce the saturation. I won't. In this, the vignette effect is very, very subtle. So
Okay.
even if I increase it to full,
Okay.
it's not that much. So I'll keep it at 4 usually. The next would be to change the HSL, which is hue, saturation, lightness. So we don't have many colors. Maybe green. We can increase the green color and
Orange.
and orange.
Oh, so you can do. Wow, that's actually pretty good.
So before and after, if you'll check. So
I've not done that on this.
Nice.
Yeah. So, and then what I can do is I can save this recipe. They call it recipe.
Mhm.
So I can save this recipe so I can apply this filter on any of the photos. So if I apply already saved filters on this existing photo, it would look like this or this. I think that this also looks good.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah. So I'll keep it this one only. So with VSCO, it also works on raw photos, but I don't use it for raw photos mostly because it reduces the. It doesn't work as good as Lightroom.
Lightroom.
So for an example of that.
So I'm going to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Is this a paid app as well?
Most of the filters are free, but if you want to use, if you want to edit raw photos, and you want to get all the filter packs, then it's paid.
So what are the filter packs? I know that I have used the app.
Do you have your the paid version or is it the free
it's
one?
paid version. I paid for annual, but I don't know.
So it's a subscription for VSCO as well?
Yes.
And what's the subscription?
Subscription cost for annual dirhams, actually I'll have to check. We'll add it in show notes.
Yeah. Let me have a look.
Yeah.
Membership is 130 presets, which is $20 a year. $19.99.
$20 a year.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's.
So
not that
roughly 75 dirhams.
Yes.
Roughly 75 dirhams
A year.
A
Yeah.
year.
I don't usually buy annual subscription, but I knew this app it's
Worth
good.
it?
Yeah, worth it. This is
Okay.
worth it, definitely. So best example why I use Lightroom plus VSCO is with this photo, I think. So this was my photo taken on my anniversary, and it's taken with Sony RX100 Mark V.
Mm-hmm.
It's a raw photo, which I edited in Lightroom first. And then so I tried this using this photo, editing this photo directly on VSCO, but I couldn't get this sharpness, which I'm getting here.
All right. Yeah, that is pretty sharp.
Yeah, if I edit it on Lightroom, then come to this, then only I get this sharpness. Otherwise, I don't.
Okay.
So that's why I use Lightroom plus VSCO. So yeah, so that is my.
What's your Adobe subscription? The cost for that per month?
Per month, it's about $10 to $15.
Do you know the yearly amount then?
No, I pay.
You pay monthly.
monthly.
So it's 10 or 15. Let's say 15.
Yeah, I think it's 15 because he has the full thing, right?
Photography plan. Yeah.
Full plan.
Right. So what you're totally paying per month is about 61 or 62 dirhams
Yes.
for your photo apps.
Correct. And apart from the holiday camera app, which I've already paid
But that's a one-time purchase.
for one-time purchase. And so, yeah, that's my process. But I have one hack for you, TJ.
Mm-hmm.
So you know how you cannot zoom in on the photos in the
Right.
Photos app?
Right.
There's a limit to what you can zoom. So I just recently got this hack where you just crop the photo, save it,
And rotate it. Okay.
and then just revert back to original, and now you can have infinite zoom.
What?
Okay.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's cool, but it's a bit weird as to why they won't allow full zoom when it's not edited, but you can.
even
when
I
it's
don't know
edited.
that.
That's pretty cool. So just as an update, the holiday camera app is $5.99 on the App Store.
$5.99 on. Oh.
Yeah. So if they keep the same price conversion, it's about 22, 23 dirhams.
Okay.
For
I
the holiday.
think it's less here.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. So you have US store on.
I have the US store. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's
because
why.
the thing is, when I bought this app, I had India store, so that's
Right.
why I don't know the exact price.
Okay.
Yeah. Buy your apps in dirhams or in INR. It's much cheaper.
Much cheaper.
Yeah, much
in INR
cheaper.
is so cheap because I didn't have Netflix before, and I don't go for movies outside. So on iTunes movies, if I pay in INR, it would be 120 rupees rental and 190 to buy.
So 120 just for context is 6 dirhams for rental.
Yes,
Or-
and to buy it's around 500 rupees. Yeah.
500 rupees. So that's about 26 dirhams
Yes.
to buy it.
And here it's 22 dirhams to rent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, even Netflix subscription, if I'm not mistaken, INR is cheaper.
No.
It is a bit.
I think it's global.
It's the same pricing? Because
pricing, yeah.
when I did the conversion, it seemed a little cheaper. But Spotify, like your music streaming services, they're a lot cheaper in INR.
Yes.
It's cheaper. It's the cheapest actual way to subscribe to anything.
Yeah, if you take Apple Music here it's 20 dirhams per month. And for family plan, it's 30 dirhams. But back in India, it's 120 rupees for individual subscription and 190 rupees for family.
So 120 is 6 dirhams. And what was the other one?
190.
That's 10 bucks.
That's nothing.
It's 10 bucks, yeah.
But that's the thing. But the iPhone cost is also more in iPhone. So they make money there. Here, the cost is really... Yeah.
I mean, there's far more people there.
So they make money here by
just a
selling.
smidge.
So they have kept the services cost
Lower,
high in this region because the iPhone cost is a little lesser than compared to India.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So that's your set of apps.
Yes.
Okay.
So we'll be adding all these apps in the
show notes. Yeah, we'll put all them in the show notes.
Just stop.
But no, we need to unfortunately donate your phone to...
Donate. Okay, so I can take it home, is it?
So you want an iPhone is what you're saying.
I'll give it to the needy.
Which is you in this case.
So maybe you can take a photo, start taking like how I did.
Okay, so this is my app of choice. I mean, earlier I used to use just Instagram, and I had downloaded the SnapSeed a few years ago, but then I had never used it. But recently I've been using it on a regular basis. Okay, so let me try clicking a picture.
Okay, you're the star.
Yes. Okay, perfect. Okay.
I don't know which one's
We'll
more
be
traumatizing.
posting both of these photos on our Instagram.
Yeah, why not actually? Let's do it.
Great. So here you can see, of course, the presets. There are lots of presets, but then I don't really use presets. I manually prefer to tune the image. So I go to Tools, Tune Image. This is what I do first. And of course, I won't be doing it exactly like, to make it look great or something. I'm just going to show you the features, what all you can do, because how the photo looks is a personal preference. I mean, of course, someone may like it.
It's your style, yeah.
Yes. And
so wait, just show how you're doing this, because I really like that. I think that's one of the Snapseed's biggest advantages.
When you go to Tools and Tune Image, you scroll up or down and you get all these different options, and then when you go on each one, you scroll left or right to increase or decrease the effect. Yeah,
it's one of the cool. And then of course you have the little button at the bottom if you don't want to use a scrolling thing.
Yes, there is this. So if you press these three sliders, then all of this pops up.
It's
and you
really
can
cool. It's I think one of the best interfaces when it comes to editing photos on the phone.
So now a very cool feature in this, suppose there's this white table which I want to make less bright, and then I suppose I do this. So of course the whole picture would become bright, right? So then what do? You just click the arrow, done, and then you can see the one on the top, the third from the right. You press that one, button, and you go to view edits,
the revert button,
and then you press on tune image again, and then you use the middle icon which looks like a brush, editing brush, and then you just select which area do you want to apply that to. So it applies only to that area, so the rest of your image does not become darker, which is I think the best for that.
But that's a hack. It's not really a core feature. Or is it an actual core feature?
I think it is an actual core feature, yeah. So I think this is like... That's
pretty cool.
Something really amazing. And you can also decrease it to like say 75 or 50%. So it's not like either to 100% or 0. If you want a little bit of an effect, you just make it half and then apply it to whatever area you want. So I'm just doing randomly. I'm not doing it the way I edit it. But yeah, you can select the areas that you want. And then when you press the eye icon on the right bottom, you can see which areas you've used.
So you can remove the area if you want to.
Yeah. So let's say now, I've set the tune image to 0. So I can remove it from the laptop if I want. So yeah, of course, then I can zoom in as much as I want,
nice.
and then I can.
I was just wondering, like, if you want to get
I can put it
precise.
to- yeah, of course. You can zoom in and then do it as precise as you want.
Right.
Yes. So, and then you just do this. You go back, and there it is. It's there.
This lovely.
Did you
image.
notice without any effort, it's still better than editing on Android? Because you didn't put any efforts in editing it, but it still looks better.
See?
Oh,
It's naturally
it's
better.
just me.
I think in every episode we'll be roasting.
I feel
It's
bad
just
for him
me.
because it's just him against. It's two of us against one, which is usually it's the other way around. There's a lot more Androids out there
True.
and less
Uh-huh.
iPhones
Okay.
in number of devices manufactured, not sold.
Okay, moving on, you have the details where you can, again, there are these options. You can increase the sharpening, and then there is the structure, which you can increase or reduce. This is the one I was talking earlier, which you can reduce. And then again, for this too, you can select which areas you want. So suppose I've set it to -74. I just click OK, and then I go back here, view edits, and then I go to details, brush, and then I just select which areas I want to reduce it. So each and every filter or effect, rather, whatever effects editing you do, you can choose which area of the photo it is applied to,
Right.
which is really cool. Then, of course, you have your curves. Okay, where did it go? Yeah, you can.
For the histogram.
Yes, you can do all of this, and you can select RGB.
I'm surprised Lightroom doesn't have better control on the histogram, or does it?
No.
Because that's something that it does really well on the desktop app.
You can see the histogram on Lightroom, but honestly, I don't use it that much. Yeah.
Fair enough.
Because if I want to go this deep, I would prefer it on a desktop.
On the desktop. Yeah.
Yeah, but I think for a phone, it has really good features for a phone. Though I don't think everyone may want to use such advanced features, but then, of course, you do have the option of doing this on a phone.
You can actually go for a photo shoot, and if you need to post something right off the bat,
Yes.
you can actually do it with your phone with these. Like it's so. I'm cutting you a little short, but
No
basically
worries,
we're looking at a combination of apps that fulfills the purpose of whatever it is that we're trying to achieve, for whatever purpose that may be. If you're a professional photographer, if you're an amateur photographer, or if you're just a casual guy, like what I tend to post on Instagram. If I'm doing more professional stuff, it's always the laptop. If I want to circumvent the laptop, I would have to use a combination, maybe one or two apps, paid or free, whatever it may be, and then go with it that way. It's pretty cool, actually.
Right. And then something else which I really like is also the perspective. So I can, move it around and, it will look as if I've clicked from another angle. So that's also a good thing.
You got to do the face thing.
Oh, yes, I will do the face thing.
Will it work on this?
I was just checking that feature out. There is something called as head pose. So it detects that there is a head in the image, and okay, it's right on the head, but okay, now can you see the slight tilt in the head? It goes up and it goes down. So I can actually tilt the angle of the head, which is creepy. I don't see if I will use it very often. Okay, apart from that, there is the pupil size. I don't know if it's noticeable a little bit. It is
bigger
noticeable.
eyes.
Maybe you can
Puppy dog eyes.
Zoom in and
Very little. No, okay, maybe not. But then there was the smile, which was okay. Yeah.
You can actually. Oh my God. Nobody wants to see that. Yeah, so you can actually. This kind of blew me away. He was showing this to me before we started recording the episode. I thought it was pretty. It's creepy. It's really creepy.
Yeah, it is.
But it's cool as well at the same time. Like if you.
But then, I just tried this. What I was thinking right now is suppose you take a group shot and then you want to increase the smile for one person, but it doesn't work that way. It works only if there's one face in the photo. So I tried it with two faces, and then of course it does not know which one to adjust it to. So yeah, it works on.
So it's you said this is a new feature that you saw recently. It wasn't something.
But it was there, but I never used it. Like we saw, it's a bit creepy. So yeah, obviously I never. And I post about food and landscape, which does not have people in it. So I didn't really use it much. And then there is expand. So you can do this, and it will add the part of the photo. So yeah, if you've missed something, I mean, if you just want to make it bigger, like maybe want to rotate the photo later, which when it's going to get cropped, so you want it to be bigger, so you make it a bit bigger, and it will just add.
Try it for the side which has stuff on it.
Well, yes. Oh yeah, it does it quite well.
That's pretty insane.
Go full.
Yeah, well, of course you do see it's a little bit.
Like,
that's a bag. But that's a chair with the bag on it.
Bad, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, fine. It distorted the image, but you can see that that's actually not too bad.
Yeah.
You can't expect it to recreate whatever's on there. That would be. You never know; it might happen.
And then there is a selective for particular area. So let's say I tap on this area and want to change the brightness here. I can increase only in this area. And there's the center size. So I can select how much of it. I'm just doing this by tapping the pinch and zoom in or zoom out. So I can reduce the center size. I can increase, decrease the brightness, or let's say contrast. I want to go up and down. So that's what I can do selectively. And then, I can add different points. I press the plus button down, and then I added a point here.
So you press the plus and then tap and then swipe up and down.
Yes. Nice. So I can do all of this for individual points on or areas in the image, so that the whole image is not affected by this. Then there are these, there is brush as well, which again is for a particular area. So let's say I want to decrease the exposure. I click on this, and just this area, I can do that. Or let's say the temperature of a particular area, I can change it there. It's
kind of trying to mimic Photoshop in that sense.
True.
Well, right?
Yeah, the selective ones, yes.
These are more like Photoshop-ish.
Yes.
Effects.
And then yes, there is healing. So if you want to remove something
we all need
from
some
the picture, so I click that and the logo is gone. You see? But that's my revenge.
I think he was waiting for that the entire time. This is for licensing purposes only.
Yes, and this app is free.
Wow,
totally free.
Yeah, this looks really weird. Change it. So this is a good point. This is a good time to point out that this app is a Google app.
Yep. Yes, it is a Google app.
So that's why it's very good at removing the Apple logo. So it's a free app.
Yes, it is a free
app. And is there a paid version to this?
No, there is no paid version.
As far as I remember this. So it was, if I'm not mistaken, Snapseed started off, some guys started it, yes. They developed it, and then Google bought it over. And then they've added a bunch of AI stuff to it, which is, we see the power of that. And Google's very good at their AI stuff, which is pretty cool to see. I see this text and frames.
Yes, so when you go to text, you have lots of options. You can just type your text in here, and then you have all these presets, the way the text will look. So you can like move it up and down or do, whatever that is there. Okay, one sec. I don't know why doesn't it go further smaller? Okay, so I'm going to try something here which I just recently discovered. I don't know how well it's going to work. Okay, no. Yeah, so I can just brush the area of the text that I want visible, and maybe I want to make it a little.
You can hide it behind the laptop, for example.
Behind you,
yes.
Or behind me or something like that.
Yeah. So that's also really cool.
That's really cool.
Yes. So all these features, and of course, you pointed out the frames that is there. You have these preset frames. I'm not personally much of a fan, but yes, you do have all of these options.
Maybe not. I'm not a fan of putting frames for something you're posting on Instagram, but if it's something like sharing with friends or whatever it may be, I'm totally in favor of doing this. It's a fun way to add a little.
On Instagram, you can add just like plain white frame. That's it. But you cannot add these kind of filters.
No, I mean you can create it here and post it. Is what I mean.
Oh, okay.
So instead of doing that, I'm not a fan of putting frames on your photos for social media, unless it's your personal social media. So it's not something that you plan to share, like what we do with the food blogs and Absolute Geeks and TJ Tech and stuff like that. So that's what I mean. Or professionally, even if you're using it for your company as a way to expand your customer base or showcase what you're doing or something like that. I'm not a fan of that, personally.
And then of course you have the HDRscape and Glamour Glow and Vintage.
So Glamour Glow, isn't that, so they have some filters, right? Like
yes, so all of these have
Retro Lux
filters,
and
and you
Noir.
can decrease or increase the intensity, the glow, and the saturation, warmth for each of the filters. Again, I'm not much of a fan of presets, and it gives too much of a dramatic effect for my liking. So it's suitable for very few images if that's what you like. So I usually don't use those options. But yeah, I do use lens blur, which is there for at times, suppose I just want it for your face. So I make the center here.
right.
And then suppose I want a vignette, so I just add or reduce it. And the transition, so how smoothly will it reduce the,
Or how drastic is
Yes.
or dramatic is the
Yes.
transition?
and of course the blur effect.
Oh, okay.
So this really, I use it pretty often. And if there is another dedicated feature called the vignette, so in this, if you reduce the outer brightness, it becomes really dramatic. And then you can decrease the center size.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's really dramatic.
And horribly dramatic.
Yeah,
Well, that's specific.
but then it does look good for some pictures. I mean, here we have a lot of things in the picture, so it's not looking that good. But then suppose there's just one person and I just want to show their face and make the rest of it black.
Maybe night shots.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it works well in those times.
Fair enough. So obviously we'll have these pictures posted on Instagram as well, just to showcase the kind of crap that we were up to in this episode. But we're coming close to the end of the episode. Do you want to share the camera app that you use? Is it anything more than the stock app, or do you use the stock app
I use the stock app in my phone,
on
which
your
is
Samsung
the Samsung Note 8.
8?
Yeah, and I'm a fan of the Pro mode. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I can connect it right away, but maybe you can point your camera to this and
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that's one way to do it.
yeah.
When your phone doesn't connect.
Okay.
Sorry. Yeah, so this is the Pro mode, and of course you have the ISO controls, you have the shutter speed, and these are the temperature and the effects, saturation. I don't.
Do you by any chance have one of the Nokia phones with you?
Not right away.
Because that Pro mode on the Nokia is probably one of the best I have ever used and still have ever used.
Well, I
ability
did
to
like
just-
it. I did like the Pro mode, but then I had written in
You'd
the
written
review
in your review, yeah.
that it works more like a DSLR, which does not show the exact image that you're going to get after you click.
So you really got to be a
Whereas-
pro in the sense that you need to
Yes.
really know what
Yeah.
changing in this exposure, what it does.
Yes,
Yeah.
and you
everything
can
what it does.
just look into the room and see what kind of settings you would need, like what ISO, what shutter speed, what aperture you would need, just by looking, and that's when it would work well. But in this, you can see how actually the photo is gonna turn out to be. So if I click this is exactly how the photo is gonna
Right.
turn out. So this is what I really like about this, and yeah, this is what I mostly use. There is the Kelvin as well, I can change. And of course the manual focus, and it has the focus peaking, the green lines which you can see.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
focus peaking, so you can see where exactly it's focusing, which is a very good thing. So yeah, these are the pro features that I
which
use.
is what we call zebras on.
No,
an
zebras
DSLR.
are when something gets too overexposed and you
Oh,
can't.
sorry, overexposure. Yeah. No, you're right. Focus peaking.
Yes. And
Ignore my little ignorance. Momentary ignorance.
Well, yeah, there are some presets. I think they've just updated. I don't even know where do I find it from. But I mostly don't use presets. I just use a pro mode if I have to. And yeah, that's where I make most of the changes from. So that works really well for me.
Cool. So let's wrap up this episode.
Yeah.
What would be, out of everything that we used, if we were to pick one app that we would want to explore more, or that we would want to call as the top of all of this, which one would that be?
Okay. For me, it would be Lightroom.
Lightroom?
But maybe
It's hard to pick one, right? Because
yes.
you want a bit of this and a bit of that.
Yeah.
Like
Out of the three apps that I showcased, Holiday, Lightroom, and VSCO, I would choose Holiday actually, because that's the foundation for every photo, and it takes really good photos.
Interesting.
Well, for me, I've just been using the one app, which is SnapSeed, so it's a clear Snapseed.
For you, it's a clear thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me, I'm in between Lightroom and SnapSeed for sure.
Okay.
Fine, Holiday. It's a camera app, but you're also one of the reasons why I won't pick it is because it's paid. So it's not for everybody.
Yep.
Lightroom by default is for everybody, but Snapseed doesn't edit RAW.
No, it does not edit.
So they are comparable in that sense to me.
Yeah, but then again, I think not that many people would want to edit on their phone. I mean, if they're using RAWs and they're
if you're using RAW, I have a feeling that you're probably going to pay for the software.
Yeah, perhaps.
Yes.
Because you are at that level where you want to use RAW.
Yes.
So if you don't want to use RAW, then you stick to one of these apps at the basic level. And I think personally it would be Lightroom as well.
But once you start taking raw photos on your phone and editing them, you'll really see the difference.
Yeah, of course.
Oh, and by the way, the native camera can click RAW as well.
On the Note.
On the Note 8, yeah.
Right.
On all Samsung. I mean, the latest,
Yeah,
in the last 1 or 2 years.
You just had to rub it on our
It's a
faces.
Samsung.
Oh, of course.
We are, by the way, not sponsored by anybody right now. So none of these apps are actually sponsored or sponsoring this episode. So it's all our personal opinions, even our bickering about iPhone and Samsung and Android and all. It's just us having fun. So this is our way of doing it. I think, that's great.
Yeah.
What are we talking about next in the next episode?
I think we can take some suggestions from...
Yeah, maybe video editing apps. I have a lot of talk.
We can do that for the next time around because I think we have a few planned already.
Yeah.
So we will open this up for Twitter and Instagram. So definitely drop in your suggestions and we can put them into one of the episodes at some point. Or even if you have some feedback for the format, the way we're doing this, how we're going about doing this. This is only our second episode, so obviously we have a lot to learn. And we're always happy to take in feedback and see how we can improve this podcast better.
And whoever is listening to this podcast, we would encourage them to go watch the video on YouTube, because that will make much more sense, because we display a lot of the things we are doing on the big screen.
And they can actually check out all the apps that we mentioned and see if they find some new features which we haven't yet discovered, or some hacks, and tell us what they like or what they don't like about these apps.
And so expanding on what we've already talked about, something that we may have missed, definitely we can talk about that. Also, if you want to see the apps that we have talked about, it's going to be in the show notes. So it's always available there. You can always check out the apps over there. And I'm just going to point it out. If you haven't checked out the previous episode, do that. That's the first one we did. It was about podcast apps.
Yep.
How to listen to podcasts. It's very interesting because we three come from different experiences for podcasts. Knuckle is like the veteran, you could say, of podcasts. I'm the medium sort of casual podcast listener. And Udit was a complete, I would say, baby, newborn or noob for podcasts at the time. So it was an interesting dynamic, and I think it was a very interesting episode. So I think we all learned something from that.
Yes.
Surprisingly, even the veteran learned something from the newbie. So
whichever app you showcase, but the
Castbox,
Castbox is
that
pretty
just
cool.
blew away everything.
A lot of features.
So I'm going to throw this to you, Knuckle. What's Absolute Geeks?
So we write about tech, we cover tech, we'll be doing more videos on tech as well. That's something we're really excited about. And you can follow us on Instagram. All social media channels. Our handle is Absolute Geeks.
Absolute Geeks.
And so
but it's not only tech. So it's also cars.
Yes.
We also have,
gaming.
In cars you have tech as well, but then we have gaming, we have anime, we have anything that's geeky, anything that's cool, that's funky. We do tend to cover it. Maybe coverage is not as much as we would like, but that's what we do. It's Absolute Geeks at the end of the day. And this AbsoluteCast is one of the things underneath Absolute Geeks.
Yeah.
So
for this podcast especially, we are very excited. So just do let us know, comment, or if you know us personally, just let us know what do you want. If you want the format to be changed a little, which topic you want to be covered, which is your favorite photo editing app, and
suggestions.
Yeah, suggestions. Suggestions is the number one thing.
Oh, and if we are not on your podcast channel or platform of choice,
how we can find that.
Let us know, and then we can try to get ourselves onto that as well. So obviously we're starting off, so
currently you can find us on.
We're gonna be on Angami, which is actually a throw out a shout out. A shout out to Angami for nicely letting us use their
Yes.
facilities. Here you can see all of this
yeah.
is actually nicely given to us by Angami for using currently. It's very nice of them. And this is where we're recording. So you can definitely check out our podcast on Angami. And of course YouTube, because that's where the video is going to be. We will most probably be on
Apple, Overcast, Stitcher,
Apple for sure, Overcast,
Castbox.
Stitcher, and SoundCloud. And of course you can also listen to us on AbsoluteGeeks.com if you want to check us out on the website. So that's always there. And I think that's it. Let's wrap this episode up.
Yes. So do let us know which is your favorite app, or which is the favorite feature in the app, or if you have any suggestions or any other apps that you use, and tell us how you like this episode.
Yeah. So from my side, see ya.
All right. Bye-bye.
And that's me, TJ, signing off. See you in the next one. Ta-ta.